Alright. Alright. Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic us Non-Classics. This is episode number 3299. Doubleshot number 3193. Yes, I do know the fact next episode for this series is episode 3300, which should be interesting. Okay, so we're first discussing issues 30 to 45 of Starman. Now, the writer from radio issues, so exception to 37, is Lenz. Mostly put, basically, for issue 30 to 33, it's a storyline known as Seduction of Starman. Basically, it's sort of a party-ish type of issue. Yeah, for basically kind of in a way the vibe for issues 30 to 40, it's basically Starman is a celebrity and he gets a girlfriend. He reveals basically that later on he actually is Starman to her. And I'm like, what happened to his original love interest? I guess she was dropped from the series. Also, his parents are barely featured in the book. 37, I should point out, is not written by this writer, Lenz. 37 is actually written by Keith Giffen and Peter David. Yes. For some reason, they decided to have these two fill in for an issue. Now, of course, I can't ask the two guys based. I thought it was 37. No. Oh yeah. Also, Rampage represents the book. I know it was one issue here. It was 30. It was one of these issues here. No, it wasn't 36. Oh yeah. You have gets referenced by the Phantom Lady. Yeah. Let's see. Was 38. No, 38 is basically tying to War of the Gods. Yeah. Was 35? Okay, 35 was basically a villain issue from Peter David and Keith Giffen. Now, this issue in particular, it's called Back to Fuchsia, where basically this is a guest appearance by Mon-El in this issue. Yep, Starman teams with Mon-El. So it's like right after the seduction of the Starman storyline. Basically, he has like one off standalone issue, and then for issue 35, teams up with Starman, and then for 36, he teams up with Rampage and Phantom Lady, which of course, Rampage is a good chunk of the remaining issues of the series. Sorry about that. 38 is a tie-in to War of the Gods. Yeah, Starman gets involved with this stuff, where it's basically like Hollywood stuff. And weirdly, it's only for one issue, and then we have this thing called Plasmex for this one, for issue 39. Now, does he team with somebody in this issue? Not really, just some plastic killer. That's who we have to deal with for issue 39. I think 40 as well. He has to deal with Elvis. And then for the remaining 5 issues of the series, actually 4 issues. Then we have like a standard issue. He's basically in Vegas for an issue. And I think it's 42 starts the storyline. Yes, 42. 42 starts a story called Star Shadows, where starts a storyline that would lead later on to what happened to Will Payton in their book. We have Will Payton, Starman versus Eclipso. Yep, and throughout the remainder of the book, these two are fighting each other, and somehow Lobo himself, the main man, gets involved in this stuff. Yep. And then Eclipso gets free from Bruce Gordon somehow. And then the book ends right after. It's like, I guess the writer felt as though he needed to free Bruce Gordon from Eclipso, so he did. And then later on, Eclipso got a solo book. Eclipso killed Starman. Yeah, he killed Peyton, supposedly. And then somehow, because Jack Knight from the next one for this here by James Robertson, somebody got word that he was alive in space on another planet. Eventually did find him. And it turns out, and this is revealed by James Robertson, it turns out that Will Payton's power as Starman came from another Starman, Prince Garrett. A Starman created by the late Steve Ditko. Yes, a Starman who had a feature in Adventure Comics in the 1980s. And sort of he saw a reincarnation of him. And yeah, so now you have two Starmen related to each other by marriage because Starman's sister Jane pops up in the next book as a character named Sally, who becomes Jack Knight's fiance, not the mother of his child. That actually went to the daughter of longtime Starman villain who only fought him once back in the 40s, the Mist. Yeah, where she sort of basically drugged him and supposedly slept with him off screen. So basically she raped him. But it's off-screen rape, though we don't really show it per se. And of course, basically he has a son now named Kyle, who he named after, who she said named her and Jack's son after her late brother. Yes. Now, of course, Sally, of course, got engaged to Jack Knight, and then he would look for her after his book wrapped up. And Jack Knight himself has not really been featured since the book wrapped up at all. As for Payne himself, well, he ended up on that planet where basically gets a smoking hot princess as a girlfriend, and that's kind of the wrap up of his character. But this book under Roger Stern was really good. I enjoyed Roger Stern's work on this title. Nothing against the writer who replaced him. It just that it didn't feel as though it's like it was not up to the same style of storytelling that Roger Stern basically gave this title. If you want to name some of the best issues of this book, well, surprisingly, under the new writer, the book only tied to one crossover, War of the Gods, and that was it. But what do I think overall of the Starman first volume? Because I've already reviewed volume 2 already for Starman. It is mostly put a really good volume. I'd say that the Roger Stern stuff is really good. The replacement writer is interesting at best. I do enjoy the artwork for this book. I kind of wish this website used would basically just, like other books, I wish they would restore the artwork to like modern colors. But be as it may, I'm going to give Starman issues 30-45 a 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we're going to the Spectre. Ooh, the Spectre. Yeah, this is the volume. This is basically from Spectre Volume 2. We're discussing, kind of in a way, the first 15 issues of this volume. Yes, so DC Comics, a year after Crisis Universe brought back, gave the Spectre an ongoing series. And it lasted 10 issues shorter than Dr. Fate's book. Yes, Dr. Fate has series 2. But different writer, of course. Doug Moen, of course, is the writer of this book. Gene Colan would only do the artwork for the first 6 issues, and he would leave. And they had their writers' arts on here. Now, Doug himself would do all the issues. If you're curious how long this is run, 31 issues and 1 annual. But here I'm only discussing the first 15 issues. Excuse me. So, it's been detective work here. And of course, you have Jim Corrigan in the book here too. He gets a girlfriend, and the Spectre acts like he's like a separate entity from, or basically he, even though Jim Corrigan's the host, it's like he has become the Spectre. It's like he's goes separate, does his own thing. And then for some weird reason, the book, I think on issue 5 or 6, I think this happens, where they add Santana to the series as a recurring character, where there was a brief storyline with her losing part of her body, and then she gets it back. And there's even an appearance here by Madame Xanadu, a character which Spanish Major and of course he appears in book 2. Him and basically the Spectre have got a long relationship with her. Heck, there's even one point in this book, I think it's issue 11, where the book becomes unexpectedly a tie-in to Millennium. Yes. Now, this is a weird thing with this book. Other books, it kind of makes sense. But the Spectre? He's a supernatural character. Like, it's weird that he's dealing with Manhunter robots in here, which is really weird. Yes, I think it was issue 11. I want to be sure about that here. Yep. Of course, we also appearance here by Dr. Fate, Deadman, and the Gentleman Ghost. Yeah, they become recurring characters in this book for some reason. Yeah, the Gentleman Ghost, I think this was him basically appearing here after they wrapped up the second volume for Hawkman. I guess DC felt as though, hey, let's just throw him in here. And if you think about it with this group here, they're kind of in a way like a 80s version, just like Dark. It just comprised of like, you have the Spectre, Dr. Fate, Deadman is here. Yes, you have Deadman. And you have Satana in her 80s outfit. Yep. And here's Jim Corrigan here. Well, you see that white streak, it's like, wait, is that Jason Blood? Because Jason Blood does the same thing. It's like the artist is confusing. By the way, by issue 7, Gary Mara takes over the artwork duties of this book. And this is what I mean. Here's Jim Corrigan, here's the Spectre. They're kind of two separate people, but he basically lives inside Jim Corrigan. He's alive, despite because he'll be dead. It's kind of weird. But there's also that was the Mr. Kana one that was in the storyline involving his hand losing part of her body due to old Spectre villain Watoon. Yes, he appears in this book too, but excuse me. A really good set of issues, and I personally cannot wait to discuss when I can finish reviewing this volume. I personally cannot wait to discuss Volume 3. My personal favorite volume of the series. Because the book was so good on the John Doss render. Yeah, that's the thing with the Spectre. All 5 volumes only had one writer. This one, it's Doug. The whole run. I've checked. He writes this whole thing. I think the first volume was done by Robert Kanigher, I think it was, yes. But yeah, I give The Spectre, Volume 2, Issues 1 to 15, a 9 out of 10. Really fun issues. Yeah. Even though, yes, it is not basically the John Esmer stuff, but this is still really good. I enjoy this stuff. And the thing is, you can at least praise this volume for this. At least it surpassed the first volume of the series. You want to know why? Because the first volume was only 10 issues. And the third volume would surpass this by almost 30 issues, when it lasted for 60. Though Volume 4 lasted for 27 issues, making it shorter by this book by 4 issues. And the shortest volume you would think would be Volume 1 was actually Volume 5 at 3 issues. Yes, for some weird reason they did it for a different Spectre. Yeah. But not much else to say about this book. Like I said, really good. So that's pretty much the particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. So I'm going to see you guys tomorrow because it's alright 10 o'clock right now and I need to get ready for bed because I have to get up early in the morning, get up at 6 a.m. so for work. So I'll see you all tomorrow for reviews for Super Sentai. At least 1 or 2 comic corners. The Rise Your Hero. I think New Saga, I'm going to move that to Thursday because Thursday only got 2 anime. So Rise Your Hero, the Seven Prince anime, and Reborn's Vending Machine. Okay? Be the next video tomorrow. Bye.